In this class, let us learn more about spheres. A sphere of radius r is what you get when you start with a circle of radius r and you revolve it around a fixed line, an axis. But then there is no fixed line here. It does not have a height. It is a circular thing, right? So take the diameter as the fixed axis. The diameter is 2r, right? So fix this and you revolve it around this, you get a sphere. So what is the basic difference? Why are we doing this? The circle is two-dimensional, which means it is flat. It cannot hold anything. It just has two dimensions. But your sphere is three-dimensional. That means it can hold things. It is not flat. It has a specific shape. You can hold things in it. So that is the difference between any, not just this, that is the difference between any 2D and 3D forms. Now we come to two basic concepts which are connected to any shape. What is that? A surface area and a volume, both of which the circle does not have. It does not have a volume. It has only an area, not a surface area. Now, what is the curved surface area or any surface area of the sphere? What is this? Look at this one. This is the circumference, right? And what is the circumference of a circle with radius r? It is 2 pi r. But then, how many such circles do you see here? What is the height? We said the height is 2r, right? Then do 2r, there your answer. This is the curved surface area of a sphere. Now, you remember what we always say about its units. The surface area you get by multiplying two measurable quantities, something centimeter into something centimeter. So the answer should have any square unit, centimeter square, meter square, whatever, it should have it. Next we go to the volume part. How much can you fill inside it? That is what your volume will tell you. Now the volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube. Again notice, what do you notice here? You are multiplying three measurable quantities, something into something into something. That means its unit will always be cubic units, meter cube, centimeter cube, and so on. Now we come to half of a sphere. What is it called? It is a hemisphere. It looks like this. Now the volume part is easy. Whatever a whole sphere can hold, a hemisphere can hold half of it. Just 2 by 3 pi r cube. But now you see the problem here when it comes to the surface area. It has two surfaces. One is half of a sphere and other, the base here is a circle. So you have two different surfaces. What is the curved surface area? The total one is 4 pi r square. So half of it will be what? 2 pi r square. But then we are not done. There is a base. And what does that base look like? It looks like a circle. And what will be its radius? Its radius will be r. Then what is its area? Its area is pi r square. Now what is the total surface area? Both of this added, which is 3 pi r square. So when you take a hemisphere, total surface area is 3 pi r square and its volume is this. Now look at this question. It talks about the volume of a sphere. Whenever we talk about the volume of a sphere, we take the related quantities as V and R. But then read the question. We are talking about two spheres. So whose volume is this? We need two different sets of values, V1 and R1 for the first sphere, V2 and R2 for the second sphere. And what is given? The ratio of the volumes. That means randomly I will take V1 and V2. So the ratio is given. Instead of writing it in the ratio form, I will write it in the fraction form. And what is given? Their ratio is 64 by 27. Then what is the volume of V1 and V2? Let us substitute the values and see. There, when you substitute the values, remember with V1 R1 comes, with V2 R2 comes, and all of this are going to get cancelled. And the law of exponents, what does it say? When A raised to M is equal to B raised to M, then you can write it together as A by B raised to M. This will happen only if your exponents are same, not for different exponents. Now both of them have the exponent 3, so this is how it looks like. But then what is 64 by 27? 64 is 4 cube. 27 is 3 cube. Now, what does this show? If a raised to m and b raised to m are equal, then what is the only possibility? You cannot get 2 raised to 5 is equal to 3 raised to 5, right? If it is 2 raised to 5, it can only be equal to 2 raised to 5. There is no other possibility. So now what do you see here? Both the exponents are same. That means r1 by r2, or in other words, the ratio of their radius is equal to 4:3. But then the ratio of the radii is not what you are asked for. You are asked to find the ratio of the surface areas. How do you do that? Now remember one important thing, do not change the order. Do not put S2 is to S1 here. If the first one was V1 is to V2, just follow the same order. First in the ratio form, then in the fraction form, substitute the values. For S1 you have to use R1. For S2 you have to use R2. What do you see? Same exponents. That means the exponent can come out. But then we know that R is to R2 is what? 4/3. So then squaring that, what do you get your answer? Your answer is what? 16:9. That is the ratio. These two questions, both of them have the same concept. You start with an original figure and then you make it into something else. Here, one sphere made into a wire. But then this question, see what is happening? One sphere made into many smaller figures, many smaller spheres. So then what do we have to be bothered about? Is it the surface area or the volume? When you take a big ball and you melt it into smaller balls, are you just disturbing its surface area? No, you melt down the whole thing, which means the volume is what you have to worry about. Now if I have 10 pizzas, I have to divide it into 5 for 5 people. What do? I divide 10 by 5. The same thing we are going to do, but with the volume, because the volume is the one that is going to be disturbed. So we take the volume of the big laddu by the volume of the small laddu. How does your answer look like? You have to divide the bigger volume by the smaller volume. What does the bigger volume have? Its diameter is d. That means its radius would be 5. Similarly, how will your smaller volume look like? Its diameter is 5. That means its radius is 2.5. But then don't rush with the calculations. Just cut off all the similar looking terms, all of this. Then you get R1 by R2 cube. But your R1 is 10 by 2. Your R2 is 5 by 2. Now you have two fractions here. How do you divide two fractions? Any two fractions, how do you divide them? Do not touch the numerator. Keep it as it is. Write it in the fraction form. Then what do you do with your denominator? Turn it upside down. Take its reciprocal. What does the reciprocal do? What is the numerator here will become the denominator. And when what is the denominator here? It will go up. Just put it ulta, take the reciprocal. Then this is how your division looks like. Do the same here. Keep the numerator as it is. Put it upside down. What you get is 2 cube, which is 8. So out of this one big laddu, he can make 8 smaller laddus. How is this question different? You are not taking one figure and breaking it into smaller figures. Now this is equal. The complete volume has been made into this. That means both the volumes are equal. What you have is a sphere of diameter 18 centimeter. That means its radius is 9 centimeter. What is the other figure? It is a wire, which means it is a cylinder. It has a certain length and it has a certain breadth. Now its breadth will be what we take as its radius, right? So its diameter is 4 millimeter. Millimeter is extremely small, right? A wire, its radius will be extremely small. So its radius is 2 millimeter. Now what have we found out? Both of their volumes are same. But then What does the cylinder have that the sphere does not? It has a height. That is what you have to find out. What is its height or what is its length? Now what is the volume of a cylinder? It is pi r square h. We know what the volume of the sphere is. So what do you have? Volume of the sphere is equal to the volume of the wire. But what is the volume of the sphere? It is 4 by 3 pi r cube. R1, I will take this as R1, or I will take it as RS, so that you know that it is a radius of the sphere. And what is this? This is equal to pi R H. Now what do you know? You know what the radius is. So shall we substitute that? Remember, for the sphere, your radius is 9. It has a different radius. And for the wire, your radius is different. What is the radius? It is 2 millimeter. Now remember, you cannot equate a centimeter to a millimeter. All your units should be same. You should make your millimeter into your centimeter. How will you do that? 10 millimeter is 1 centimeter. So how much is 2 millimeter? Write all your millimeters to one side, your centimeters to one side, and cross multiply. When you cross multiply, you get 10x is equal to 2. That means x is equal to 2 by 10, or in other words, this is 2 by 10 centimeter. Now both of this you have made into centimeter. Only then we can work with it. What is 2 by 10? You cut it and you will get 1 by 5. Now, what is 5 square? It is 25. So the whole thing comes down to pi by 25. Then what do you have here? A pi here, a pi here. Both of them are going to get cancelled. So what is h? Whatever is here, we keep it as it is. Do not disturb it. Just take these. Whatever is in the numerator goes to the denominator and vice versa. There. Your pi and pi gets cancelled. Your 4 and 25 will give you 100. Now do not open the whole thing. Just take one 9 out. Keep the 9 square as it is. Just take one 9 out and cut it with the 3. Then you get this. That means what? 81 into 3. That means 3. 2, 4, 0, 0. And what is it in? What did we change all of this into? Centimeter. So this much centimeter. Then 100 centimeters is 1 meter. That means this whole thing is 243 meters. A hemispherical dome needs to be painted. That means worry only about this. You don't have to worry about this. And what is given? Its circumference is given as 17.6 meters. Now, how does a hemisphere look like? It looks like this. What all does it have? It has a curved surface and it has a base. Now the base of that circumference is given as 17.6. Suppose the radius is, say, r. Then what is the circumference? The circumference is 2 pi r. Remember, it is the circumference that is asked. This length that is asked, not the area. Whenever you have area, you multiply two measurable quantities and get its unit in squares. But here you see, just 1 meter. That means you're talking about just one measurable quantity, which is just this 1 r. Do not get confused between the circumference and the area. Circumference is just this, which will be measured in just meter, centimeter, etc. So this is your circumference. But what is the circumference given as? It is given as 17.62 pi r. From that we will get r. But what is the question? Find the cost of painting this dome. That means they want to paint what? They want to paint the curved surface. You don't know what the curved surface is. You just know the circumference of this. Then we will find the curved surface. Now this is your r. The minute you see 17.6, you should know what? It is divisible by 11. Why? Do you remember the divisibility test for 11? How does it work? Take any number. How do you test if this number is divisible by 11? Take all the alternating numbers and add them. So 5 plus 9 plus 7 is what? It is 16. Then add these, which is what? 11. Now subtract these two, your answer will be 5. That means it is not divisible. Your answer should either be 0 or a multiple of 11. Anything other than that, if it is not 0, if it is not 11 or any other multiple of 11, then this is not divisible by 11. Get this? There. 1 plus 6 is 7, 7 minus 7 is 0, so it is divisible by 11. And you will get your radius is 2.8 meters. So what you have found out is this. You have found out that this R is 2.8, but then what do you need? You need its surface area. Now we have a minute problem here. What is that? Your area you have got in meter square. But look at the question. The value is given only for centimeter square. Now how do you make meter into centimeter? Meter into centimeter is 100. Just add twice, 4 zeros. Why is that? What is 1 meter square? It is 1 meter into 1 meter. But then 1 meter is 100 centimeter and then another 100 centimeter. That means what? How many zeros? 4 zeros and a centimeter square. So instead of putting 2 zeros, from meter to centimeter 2 zeros, but here you have to put 4 zeros and then 2 decimal places and 2 zeros cancel out. So all you are left with is this much of centimeter square. Now what is the cost of painting? For every 100 centimeter square you have to pay 5 rupees. So find the answer by cross multiplication. Gather all your units one below the other, centimeter square in this table, and the rupees here one below the other. Cross multiply, then this is your answer. You have to pay 24,640. Look at this question. It talks about radius and surface areas. Usually what do we take? We take any area as A and the radius as R. But here you are dealing with two different bodies. So you need two different set of values. Instead of taking A1 and R1 and all that, I will just take it as M. AM and RM. Let AM be the surface area of the moon and RM be its radius. What about this planet? Let its area be AP and its radius be RP. Now what is it given? What is the question here? Read it in English, translate it into maths. What is given? Radius of the moon, which is RM, is means what? Is equal to 1/5 means what? 1/5 of means what? Multiplied by radius of the planet RP. So do you see what is happening here? What they have given you indirectly is the ratio of the moon is to the ratio of the planet. There. This is what they have given us. Let's first write down the surface areas. Now let's find the ratio of the surface areas. This is how it looks in the ratio form. I have made it in the fraction form. Remember, area of the moon means you have to use only the radius of the moon. Area of the planet, for that use the radius of the planet. Then everything whatever is same gets cancelled and you get this. And remember to put it in the bracket. You have to square 5 also. Your answer is 1:25. Now remember, the ratio 1:25 is the ratio of the area of the moon is to the area of the planet. First quantity, first value. Second quantity, second value. If you are interchanging it, if it is the area of the planet is to the area of the moon, you interchange this, then you interchange this ratio also. What does that mean? If moon is, the radius of the moon is 5 times smaller than the radius of this planet, then the area of the moon is 25 times smaller than the area of this planet. That is what it means, and that is one thing you have to remember about the ratio. Do not change the order. So make sure you get your orders right.